Ever find yourself daydreaming about what your money could get you in, some far-off corner of the world?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, who hasn't, right?
Well, get ready to dive deep because today we're looking at the wild world of what a single US dollar can actually buy you around the globe.
Yeah, we're talking street food in Vietnam, taxi rides in Nepal. We'll even see how far a buck gets you on the Nile.
Buckle up, listeners, because this deep dive is going to be a wild ride.
I think it's safe to say we all know a dollar doesn't go as far as it used to right here at home. But did you know that in some places it can get you a full meal, a taxi ride, or even a boat trip?
I mean, seriously, a whole meal. I'm already intrigued.
Well, that's the beauty of purchasing power parity or PPP. It's all about how much bang for your buck you get based on where you are in the world.
Okay, hold on. So PPP, it's not just about how many euros or pesos you get for your dollar, right?
Right. It's about what those euros or pesos can actually buy you in their respective countries.
So like a dollar might get you a tiny coffee in New York, but a whole meal in Vietnam.
Precisely. And that's where things get really interesting. Our sources show some mind-blowing examples. Like in Vietnam, a delicious street food meal could easily be within your dollar budget.
Okay, you had me at delicious street food, but seriously, a dollar. What kind of meal are we talking here?
Think maybe a steaming bowl of pho or a banh mi overflowing with savory fillings.
No, that's what I call a bargain.
Yeah.
And hey, what about that taxi ride you mentioned in Nepal? How far could a dollar take you there?
Well, you're not going to be crossing the country for a buck. But for short trips around town, say a kilometer to a dollar should do the trick.
So I'm picturing myself hopping out of a taxi right in the heart of Kathmandu, ready to explore ancient temples and bustling markets.
Yeah.
All for the price of a candy bar back home.
Exactly. It really highlights how drastically the value of a dollar can change depending on where you are in the world.
But hold on, if a dollar stretches that far in some places, does that mean people there are earning significantly less too?
That's a great question, and it's often the case. Countries with lower average incomes tend to have lower prices for goods and services. It's a way for the local economy to find its balance.
So while a dollar might go further in some places, it reflects a different economic reality overall.
Right. It's all connected. You can't just look at the price tag. You have to consider the bigger picture.
Okay, so let's talk bigger picture. You mentioned average income. How does that play into what a dollar can buy in a given country?
Well, think of it this way. Imagine a country where the average income is, say, significantly lower than in the US. To make goods and services affordable to the people who live there, prices have to be lower too.
I see. So a dollar coming from a higher income country like the US would have more purchasing power in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like stepping into a different economic world. Now, our sources have this fascinating example about Egypt. Apparently, a dollar can get you a felucca ride down the Nile. Pretty cool, right?
A felucca ride. Sounds like something straight out of a travel brochure.
Yeah.
But no way locals are paying a dollar for that, right?
You're sharp to catch that Egypt's economy relies heavily on tourism. So certain services, especially those geared towards visitors, are priced competitively to attract foreign currency.
Makes sense. They want to make it easy for tourists to spend those dollars.
Exactly. That dollar felucca ride might be a steal for a visitor, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the everyday cost of living for Egyptians.
So once again, it's about more than just what a dollar can buy. It's about understanding the economic context.
Absolutely. And there are tools economists use to measure PPP more formally. Ever heard of the Big Mac Index?
Vaguely. I feel like I've heard it mentioned somewhere. Does it have something to do with the price of Big Macs?
Bingo! It's a lighthearted way to illustrate the concept. By comparing the price of a Big Mac in different countries, you can get a rough idea of how currencies stack up in terms of purchasing power.
So it's like using a Big Mac as a common denominator to see how much your money is really worth around the world.
You got it. And while it's not a perfect measure, it's a pretty fun and insightful way to look at global economic differences.
I can already see myself using this next time I'm debating whether to get a Big Mac in, say, Paris or Tokyo.
Well, I'll be curious to hear which one offers the best value. But on a serious note, remember, PPP isn't just about fast food or tourist attractions. It applies to everything from groceries and housing to transportation and healthcare.
So it's a fundamental concept that helps us understand the real value of money across different countries.
Exactly. And this brings us to a crucial point. PPP isn't limited to the US dollar. It's a universal concept applicable to any currency.
So whether we're talking euros, yen, or any other currency, their purchasing power will always depend on the local economic conditions.
That's right. Think about the euro for a moment. It might have more purchasing power in, say, Portugal than in Germany due to differences in costs of living and economic structures.
So no matter where you travel or what currency you use, this idea of purchasing power is always at play.
It really is. It challenges us to look beyond the face value of money and consider its real-world purchasing power in different economic contexts.
And that's a powerful takeaway from this deep dive. It's about more than just getting the best deals while traveling. It's about understanding the interconnectedness of global economies.
Absolutely. Now that you've seen how dramatically a dollar's purchasing power can change around the world, how does it shift your perspective on the value of goods and services right here at home?
That's a question worth chewing on. And honestly, it's something I'm going to be thinking about long after this deep dive is over.
Me too. It's a reminder that the value we assign to things is relative and constantly evolving.
To all our listeners out there, we encourage you to check out the source materials we've linked. There's a whole world of economic insights waiting to be explored.
Happy diving, everyone!
Until next time.